Hi, my name is Dave Bode for Tuts Plus, and in this tutorial we are going to check out a guitar amp modeling plugin from Kuassa called Amplification One. And this is a really cool product. Now, in the world of guitar amp modelers, there is a lot of options. You have Native Instruments Guitar Rig, you have IK Multimedia's Amplitube, Line 6 has Pod Farm, PV has Revalver, Waves has GTR, there's also Studio Devil Amp Modeler, and many more. There's essentially two ways that you can go about getting direct guitar into the computer, because that's what we need to work with here. We don't want to record a microphone on an amplifier and then bring it in here and use this plugin, because what this plugin is doing is replacing all of that stuff. So it's going to replace your overdrives, your noise gate, your main amplifier, your speaker, and your microphone. So this is a full replacement for all of those things. But first we have to get the guitar sound in to the application. And depending on what kind of audio interface you have, that can work a number of ways. If you have an audio interface that has line level inputs and microphone inputs, you probably want to use a DI. So you plug your guitar cable into a DI, and then you take a mic cable and you plug that into your microphone preamp. And there's a number of great products out there that'll do that. Radial makes some really fantastic DIs and they sound very nice. And so that is one way that you can do it. The other way is if you have an interface that actually has a specific instrument or guitar or high Z input that essentially will work just like a direct input box or a DI box. It already has the transformers inside to do the impedance matching to make everything work, and so you get the right level, and it has the noise rejection, and everything is cool. On my interface, this is what my interface looks like here. And so in the front, we have two XLR mic preamps, and then in the middle here, we have these, what look like line inputs. These are actually instrument inputs. And on the back, I have 8 unbalanced inputs. It's a little confusing because you might think, well, which one do I plug it in? Because they're both 1/4-inch holes. But you want to plug into the input that is specifically marked for instrument. And on this interface, you plug into the front and then you switch this little mic line switch to the microphone, because the mic/line switch switches it from the line inputs, which are in the back here, to the microphone/instrument inputs, which are in the front here. So if you have a microphone, it just does its regular preamp thing. And if you plug it into the instrument, it does the DI thing, and everything is cool. Once you get that straightened out, then you'll have something to work with. Now, once you get the audio into your interface from your guitar, it's really a pretty simple process. In Reaper, which is what we're looking at here, what we would do is we'd create a new track, we'd arm it for recording, and then we'd make some noise with the guitar, strum some open strings there, and you can see that we're getting signal. We can't hear it, however. What we want to do is we want to hear it through the plugin. So we can come over here, and I will go to 64-bit plugins, Kuassa. There we go. And now if we make noise on the guitar, oh, we still don't have anything. We can still see the signal. The problem is that we need to check record monitoring. There's this little button right here. And if we click this button on, that will route it so that we can get a live preview of what we're playing. So that's pretty much all you need to do. Get the audio into your interface from your guitar, you set up a track to record, and then you use record monitoring. So let's take a look at this plugin here, and you can see that I have some other things on here as well. I threw a tuner on to tune my guitar. I threw a redelay plugin and ambience, which is reverb, because by default, there's no reverb in here. This is a really, really dry sound. So to start, we have a noise gate here. So the noise gate can help calm things down and get rid of some of the extraneous noises. Then you jump over to the distortion modules. Now these would be similar to your stomp boxes, and there are 5 distortion modules in here. You can also enable or disable that. Then we jump down here and we get to the amplifier section. And you can see we have 8 head amplifiers to choose from. Some of them have multiple channels in them, so that they'll have clean or crunch or lead channels in them as well, which is pretty cool. And then we have a tube setting here. So this will select between 3 modes of tube saturation. It changes the brightness of the sound, and it's pretty subtle. Then we have a high Q, or high quality, and this turns on 4x oversampling to the amp calculations. This is supposed to make the sound better, but it does use up more CPUs. And if you can't tell the difference, you might as well just leave it off and save yourself the hassle of using up extra CPUs, but it is up to you. Then we get down here to the internal cabinet section, and here's where we have a bunch of different options. So up at the top here, we have a switch that switches from mono to stereo. And in mono, we can basically adjust the level between cabinet A and cabinet B. And in stereo, by default, it pans them hard right and hard left. And then we can adjust the level of each one and the panning of each one. It gives you 5 speaker models to choose from. And then we get into the microphone selection, of which there are 5. It's got a Sennheiser 421, Shure SM57, a condenser, and 2 ribbon microphone models. And then this little graphic here gives you an idea of where the placement might be, simulating kind of a real mic setup here. So I'll switch this back to mono and put just cabinet A on. So if we move this around, we can dial in just the sound that we're looking for. We can also adjust the virtual distance between the cone and the microphone, so we can get it right up close. Which creates some variation as well. You get it further away, and we'll be able to hear a little bit more of the sound kind of develop. We'll get a little bit more of those high frequencies rather than right up close. We can also change the microphone position to straight on and at a 45-degree angle. Just a tremendous amount of options here. And so we can put this in stereo. And then we also have phase switching here, which is cool as well. Now, another really interesting and very cool feature about this is it has a quad impulse loader. So say we don't want to use their speaker mic simulations. Maybe there's another one that we want to use. We can jump over here, and by clicking this tab, we're switching between the internal cabinet simulations that they have and some of our own that maybe we want to load. By default, it kind of looks like this, where we don't have anything, and right now it'll play basically the sound of the guitar with the distortion and the amplifier, but without the cabinet and mic modeling in there as well. So if we enable this, let me turn this down a little bit because that's pretty loud. Now what I have loaded up here is an impulse response from criticallabs.com. And they have this very inexpensive, I think it's like $5 pack that comes with the Messiah impulse response. It's a Mesa Boogie standard rectifier 4x12 cabinet with a Celestion Vintage 30 speaker, a Celestion G12K 100 speaker, a Celestion Greenback speaker, and it's mic'd with a Shure SM57 mic with an API 512C preamp. And so you have a couple of different impulses there, and it's $5, and it sounds very good. That's what I have loaded up here. And with the impulses, we can control overall level of this impulse right here. You can phase invert it, you can pan it to one side or the other, and you can shift the sample start point around for a whole bunch of different tone shaping options there. So we can put this all the way to the right, turn on another impulse here. And get some great, excellent sounds from this. So let's just jump back here and look at what comes with Amplification One all by itself. It also comes with some presets here to give you an idea of what some different things sound like. So a lot of cool stuff there as well. There's an input level control too, so you can kind of adjust the input independently. So if you need a little bit more, a little bit less input, you can adjust that there. And this is the input meter. Let's start from scratch here and let's kind of build a custom tone. So we'll start here with our distortion units. This one here, the green labeled Scream, is kind of a tube amp screamer. You can hear what that sounds like with just a basic amplifier on a clean channel. This is another distortion. Kind of a bluesy thing going on here. And then we have Pile Driver, which is real simple, just has drive and level. Kind of has a fuzzy kind of sound. A good amount of options there, and that was just with this one amplifier. And we have 8 different amp models to choose from. The custom amp here is their flagship head amplifier. And it has 3 channels, so we have a clean, a crunch, and a lead. And then it has 19 what they call tone stacks, which are kind of an equalization preset or impulse. And you can hear how that changes the sound here. So a ton of different options there as well. But if we take this off, a lot of different tone possibilities in there. Then they have a black amp, and this is a 2-channel amplifier, which has a real basic channel. And then we have another channel that's got a little bit more gain on it. Then we have their Chrome amplifier. This has a drive and a boost channel. Then we have the beige amplifier. This is kind of a medium gain when it's crunked up. Then we have one called amber. Which has a nice lower gain sound as well. Then we have the sunburst, which is, this is just kind of a clean amplifier. Real simple. Then we have the emerald. It's another 2-channel with a clean and a crunch. Or now the level is pretty low here, so if we wanted to get more crunch, we can turn up our input here, or we can just use some more volume or a hotter guitar pickup setting. And then we have this scarlet, which is pretty serious gain. So you can hear just a ton of options. And then we have a bunch of tonal options. Once you decide on the kind of initial amplifier gain sound with your distortion model and then your amp sound, then you can get here and tweak the heck out of the cabinet model, the mic position. So a lot of really cool options. I've been very, very happy with the sound of this. It's very, very easy to use. You can get in here and adjust to your heart's content, and you can store your own presets in here too. Here's one that I just made for the beginning of this here. So you can literally get lost just constantly tweaking, but I think this is a great plugin. It sounds really, really good. And for the price that they offer, you know, $50, you get a tremendous amount of tonal options in here, which is very, very cool. Now, it doesn't have things like delay, tremolo, reverb, compression, some of those other things that you might have in your typical guitar pedal type setup, but that's easy enough to add just using other plugins, and it sounds really, really great. Amplification One from Kuassa. Hopefully this helps you in creating some fantastic sounding guitar tracks for your next project. Again, I'm Dave Bode for Tuts Plus. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.